My wife walked out during our baby plans, then her dad left everything to me instead. My wife walked out in the middle of our fertility treatments and acted like I was the problem. We'd been trying for 3 years when the doctor said ICSI was our best shot. The first round would cost $60,000, maybe more if it failed. I was still staring at the price sheet when Eva looked at me and said, "You're on your own with this one." I thought she meant the money. 2 weeks later, I came home after a 12-hour hospital shift and found half the house empty. Her clothes were gone. The hallway table was gone. Even our wedding photo was missing. No note, no text, nothing. I called her again and again until it went to voicemail. Then I called her dad, Robert, because I thought maybe something had happened. He went quiet, then said, "She's here. She says the treatments are too much pressure." I just stood there in the dark kitchen listening to the fridge hum. Too much pressure. I was the one giving myself hormone shots every night. I was the one picking up extra shifts to pay for treatment she said she wanted. I was the one lying awake at 3 in the morning, wondering if I'd ever get to be a dad. But she was the one who ran. I kept thinking she'd come back after she calmed down. Instead, divorce papers showed up through her lawyer. She wanted half of everything, including the retirement account I'd started draining for the treatment she abandoned. At one hearing, I looked up and saw Robert sitting in the back row, hands folded, face tight. Eva noticed him too, and smiled like she'd won. Like Daddy had come to save her. He never even looked at her. When the judge asked why my retirement account had dropped so fast, Eva blamed me for bad money choices. My lawyer slid over the clinic bills, pharmacy receipts, and bank records. The judge read them, looked at Eva, and her whole attitude changed. She didn't get the easy payout she expected. After the divorce was final, Robert called and asked me to meet him for coffee. I almost said no, but I went. He sat there holding the cup with both hands and said, "I'm ashamed of what she did to you." Then he asked how I was doing, like he wanted the answer. He asked about my work, my apartment, whether I was sleeping any better. He never defended Eva, and he never asked me to take her back. Coffee turned into breakfast once a month, then calls on the way home from work. 4 years passed like that. In that time, I met Bethany. She was kind, funny, and direct, and being around her felt easy. She had a little girl named Claire who watched me carefully at first, so I just kept showing up. I helped with homework. I fixed her bike chain. I sat through school plays and cartoons. A year after Bethany and I got married, I adopted Claire. The day the judge signed the papers, Claire wrapped both arms around my neck, and Robert stood outside the courthouse with tears in his eyes. Eva didn't even know he was there. He hugged me and said, "This is the kind of father you were meant to be." A year later, he died of a heart attack at 68. At the funeral, Eva cried loud, but every time relatives walked up, she kept talking about the business, the lake house, the properties, like she was sorting out what she'd get. I stayed in the back with Bethany and Claire and kept my mouth shut. 2 weeks later, Robert's lawyer called and told me to come in for the reading of the will. I thought there had to be some mistake. When I walked into the office, Eva was there with her new husband and 2 lawyers. She smirked at me and said, "This is for family only." Then the attorney opened the file and said, "He is the primary beneficiary." The room went dead silent. Eva's smile dropped off her face. Robert had left her $1 and a letter. Everything else came to me. The company, the lake house, the investment properties, around 15 million total. The letter said he had watched me rebuild my life with grace while Eva burned through chances and blamed everyone else for her problems. He wrote that I was the son he wished he'd had and that he wanted Claire's future protected. Eva lost it. She started yelling that I had manipulated him, that he was confused, sick, senile, anything she could grab. Her husband grabbed her arm. One lawyer told her to sit down. The other kept whispering, "Stop talking." She pointed at me and said blood mattered more than anything, that I was an outsider stealing her life. A week later, she filed suit anyway. My lawyer didn't even look worried. He opened a folder and told me Robert had planned for this. Before signing the will, Robert had 3 psychiatrists evaluate him and put in writing that he was fully competent and understood exactly what he was doing. Then my lawyer set the reports on the table in front of Eva's team. Her attorney stopped turning pages. Eva grabbed the first report, then the second, then the third. The color drained out of her face, and the room finally went quiet. Now her family is saying I stole her future. Was I really wrong?